I know.
What are you gonna do? Nothing. No, it's fine.
Hey everybody, how are you? Good evening. It's Jeff Gelman of Solid Canine Training, and this is my weekly Q&A, dog training Q&A. What would Jeff do?
I thought you were going to introduce me. This is my...
And this is Linda next to me. How's everybody doing? Hey, everybody on YouTube, happy to be here. Everybody on Periscope, Spotify, SoundCloud, everybody on Google, thank you so much for tuning in. This is the opportunity for you to ask a question and get an answer. And my answers are short and sweet because there's not a lot of time. We'll get a couple hundred questions. Just remember, you can join my Patreon page, and you can go to patreon.com/solidk9training, and that's where I can actually answer your question in long format. So, which is really, really great. And I actually do a separate podcast just on my Patreon page, exclusively for only Patreon patrons. So again, that's patreon.com/solidk9training. So if you're brand new to my world, if you don't know who I am, again, it's Jeff Gelman of Solid Canine Training. I do have a dog training facility up in Providence, Rhode Island. We specialize in aggression rehab and behavior modification, but I also do a ton of basic obedience and advanced obedience. I personally travel the world doing dog training seminars, and you go to rvdogtrainer.com, and I'm able to do that because I have awesome staff, kennel staff, front desk staff, as well as 3 awesome trainers. So here we go. Let's start with your questions. You're brand new. I talk a lot about punishment. The reason why I talk so much about punishment is because nobody else seems to be. Either they don't know how to punish, they're not punishing, or they're lying about it. But number 2, it is the only way to stop an unwanted behavior. We obviously use, and you're not going to hear me talk about science on this show, but we obviously use a reward-based system when we when we want to do something, and we punish a dog, and people need to know what that means, and it's not abuse. That's a far stretch for anything, but nature punishes all the time. So as that's how we learn, by reward and punishment. So here we go.
I have a 1-year-old terrier that likes to bite my hands when I walk in the door. What should I do?
Okay, number 1, when you walk in the door, that means if the dog's biting your hands, that means your dog's not crated. So what I would do is I would start crating your dog. Now, if you don't crate your dog, what you can do is you can walk in the door, and right outside the door, you can keep a bonker. A bonker is a towel. All this is a towel. There's nothing inside it. It is a cotton towel. And you walk in the door, you will say no, and then, which is your marker word for you did something wrong, and a punisher will follow. And then you throw the bonker at the dog. And yes, you're throwing something at your dog.
Is it 100% cotton?
It's 100%
Egyptian?
It's 100% Egyptian cotton. It does not hurt your dog.
What's the thread count?
And a lot of people are like, oh my God, so you're saying you should hit your dog? It's like, no. It's like, grow up, everybody. Next.
People always compliment on the obedience of my dogs, and I always refer them to you.
Awesome, but who said that, Bill?
Bill.
But Bill, it's actually you did the work.
Mm-hmm.
And what's a good point to do is obviously is like, thank you very much. And training got me here. It's so important that people realize that these well-behaved dogs didn't come out of the womb behaving well. You've put the work in, and anybody can actually do it. It's not rocket science. Next.
Good thing watching while my dog and I work on some trick training and fetch outside.
That's a great thing to do. Awesome. A lot of people, what they'll do is they'll listen to me on iTunes or Spotify or SoundCloud as well. Next.
Any good trainer in the LA area? Is that LA as in Los Angeles or LA as in Louisiana?
It doesn't make a difference. You can look up my buddy Sean O'Shea, thegooddog.net, thegooddog.net. Tell him that I told you to call. Next.
My little chihuahua lets me know that it's time for her meds, LOL.
That's incredible. Wow, got some skills there. Next.
Are you guys from Providence?
Yeah, I'm originally from Ohio, but yes, we live in Providence. I leave my GPS on, so it's obvious where we are. Yes.
Hi from Oregon.
Hey, Oregon, how are you? Got a good buddy out there in the Oregon area. Next.
What do you do when your dog knows when and when not the e-collar goes on and off?
Your dog becomes collar smart. That's really, really popular. So what you want to do? Yeah, we know Kimberly Mancini. Absolutely, it's a small city of 100,000. So what you're going to do is you need to make sure your no is really, really powerful. Also, if you haven't been working on remote training for at least 9 months to a year, you want to make sure that you don't just put the collar on casually. Wake up in the morning and you put the collar on this side, and then 4 to 6 hours, you can put it on this side. Next.
Do your trainers teach private lessons in the same format as your seminar?
Not at all. I train a little bit differently than my trainers do. Next.
Thank you, Jeff and Linda.
You're welcome.
I love the visuals.
Awesome.
Using prong for first time on dog and some success, though he bites at leash and yelps in pain.
So he's not in pain. Prong collars do not hurt dogs. Let's fully clarify that. They do not hurt dogs at all. How do I know that? Thousands and thousands of dogs. What your dog is doing is it is objecting. It is objecting. I have heard dogs scream in crates. They're not in pain. I've heard dogs scream in different situations. They're objecting. They bite the leash because they don't like the fact that they can't go a certain direction. In a certain direction. Trust me, they're not in pain. Could you harm a dog? You can harm a dog in a lot of different ways, but you don't need a prong collar for that. Next.
Is it okay that dogs are collar-wise with e-collar? Does it matter?
I prefer that they weren't collar-wise because then you've got a selective listening dog. Next.
My dog doesn't react to people and dogs passing by anymore, but he's still fairly uncomfortable. Thoughts?
So if he's uncomfortable, advocate for your dog, utilize space and respect that your dog's uncomfortable, and let your dog move over a little bit. And you should obviously be utilizing space as well. When your dog chooses to use space, you can actually mark that with the word good if you want. Next.
6-month-old Cavoodle growled and snapped when I lifted her to go into the crate at night.
So number one, you shouldn't be lifting a dog at 6 months old. The dog should be going in the crate on its own. So you want to teach that. But see if your dog's in pain. See if your dog's in pain. There could be a spinal injury, it could be a hip injury, it could be bad breathing. So see if it's medical first. If it's not, it's just an objection. But I would teach your dog how to kennel up on command. Next.
My parents speak to my dog in Spanish, and my commands are in English. How can I help them? Hand signals?
No. Dogs learn multiple languages. Dogs learn innumerable about a bunch of languages. Don't worry about it. Teach the dog. Have them teach the dog sit, down, place, recall, heel, yes, and no in Spanish. You can teach it to them in English, and it will not confuse the dog as long as there is consistency. Next.
I have a 1-year-old Augie who jumps on everyone and is so excited. What do we do?
Okay, so number one, that's extremely rude and impolite. That's why you are actually asking me. Stopping a dog from jumping is easier than training a dog to sit. It really is. I've got a video on my YouTube channel, how to stop a dog from jumping, and you can do it with a remote collar or a prong collar. Now, this is where you want to make it uncomfortable for the dog to do those things. Next.
Hi, guys. Or hey, guys. It's for Whitney.
Hey, Whitney.
We'll be at Seattle seminar. Would it be a good idea to learn e-collar prior to this, or something you will cover?
I'd absolutely cover it, but there's no reason to wait until then. Get yourself a remote collar and start. It's not that difficult to do. Next.
Loving Patreon stuff.
Patreon is fantastic. I love being part of it as well. Thank you.
Lots of consistency leads to obedience.
Absolutely. Well, the right consistency, because if you do a lot of the same stuff wrong, then you get the wrong results. So, next.
My 7-month cane course sometimes doesn't listen to an obedience command. He's on a 10 working level.
So he's 7 months old. Well, that's where punishment comes in. So punishment for lack of compliance on a known command is how you train a dog, just to clarify this. So you will not have a compliant dog until there is a consequence for not listening to a known command. That's just the way dog training is. That's how we always learn. So obviously you need to do thousands of reps. I mean, if you did food clicker training, which we also do, by the way, you have to do 4,000 repetitions to get any sense of reliability. Now, if you add punishment to that, way sooner. So a known command, it doesn't take 4,000 times to know a command. You are going to be able to get a better reliable command. But this is the thing. You've got a 7-month-old dog as well. So there's going to be a little bit of pushback. Next.
If the dog understands heel and prong, how do you layer to e-collar healing?
Remote collar healing. I teach that at all my seminars. My buddy Sean O'Shea does have a video on remote collar healing, and it depends on how you train. We do pressure on, pressure off with leash guidance. Next.
180, wow. Once I learned it properly, changed everything on our walk.
The 180 move is a game changer. Next.
Still struggling to get the dog to stop whining with the e-collar, both in and outside kennel.
So that's be a little bit of a journey for you. And what you do is for whining, you can use a bunker, you can use a pet convincer, you can use a remote collar. Whining is annoying as all hell. Nobody wants to hear whining from your spouse, your kid, or your dog. Next.
Love the swimming pool video today.
Thank you. Official swimming pool video. It's officially first day of swimming today, and we swim dogs all day, every day in the pool. Next.
There's such a thing as two dogs just not liking each other, or are the owners in denial about their...
There's absolutely dogs that no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you want, sometimes will not be able to repair the relationship. Absolutely. And then you've got to make a decision. Next.
Thinking of T3, good investment if I don't have a dog training business.
That's who goes to T3. That's who goes to T3. It's if you're just thinking about it. Career change. Just getting into it. I'm searching for answers. That's what it's for. It's not for experienced dog trainers unless your business sucks. Then you should go. If you're just tuning in, my name is Jeff Gellman of Solid Canine Training. I'm an actual dog trainer. Train thousands of dogs. We've got a dog training facility up in Providence, Rhode Island. You can check us all out on our social media platform. Go to solidcaninetraining.com. All of our links there for everything. I've got over 5,000 free videos. You can actually train your dog for free and rehab your dog for free. And I personally travel the world doing dog training seminars. And you can go to rvdogtrainer.com. The reason why it says RV is because I travel in my motorhome. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. My dog is not reactive unless I am walking my other dog, then they both get riled up.
Yep, they're working off of each other. So what you can do is, at the very beginning of the walk, set the tone. Thank you. Next.
Love you guys. Male reactive lab pees several times on walk. Is it still marking if no leg lift?
You tell me. You know your dog's pee schedule better than I do. So your average dog should let it pee at the beginning of the walk and then see. But I mean, dogs can mark any way they want. They don't have to necessarily lift the leg. Female dogs mark and they don't lift the leg. So I'd have to see it to know it. But dog usually doesn't have to pee more than once on a walk. Next.
I'm watching your videos for hours sometimes and I have my own training business. Thank you, Jeff.
Awesome. I hear that all the time. Remember, guys, there's no gatekeepers anymore. There's no gatekeepers for anything. In fact, I had a fantastic breakfast meeting with Barbie the welder. She's an awesome artist on Instagram. And back in the day, if you wanted to have your art sold, you had to set up usually where? In an art gallery. You got to pay 50%. It's at a gatekeeper. Now you don't have a gatekeeper. Now you've got something called the internet. So same thing with a dog trainer. You don't have to work underneath a dog trainer for 10 years or 5 years. It's not that hard to train a dog, a basic dog, not aggression, but basic commands. So, a lot of folks are getting into dog training and they're helping out the community with at least basic obedience because everybody's struggling. So good for you. Congratulations.
Let's see. Oops. Pros and e-collars don't hurt dogs. I did what you have recommended and tried them on myself.
Yeah. I've never seen a dog hurt by a tool. Never. I've trained thousands and thousands of dogs. Hasn't happened. And yeah, I've seen the photos online. That was not through dog training. Next.
Don't want dogs to obsessively stare at cats, etc. I'm correct, but what demeanor in dogs should I accept?
It's a kind of thing of like, who asked that?
This one?
Bo.
So,
Bo, this is the thing. You see a nice pair of boobs. You stare at them. Is that acceptable? What's the acceptable level of staring? Got it? What's the acceptable level of staring? If you want to be rude, you stare, and then you're going to get probably a hand across your face. So same thing with the cat. No staring, no thinking naughty thoughts. It's like, mind your own freaking business, dog. I know what you're thinking. Next.
My dog screams when she's being reactive to dogs on leash with the prong. How do I correct it?
Okay, so it's not the prong that's doing it, it's the dog that's doing it. I would switch to remote collar. Also, apply your punisher at the beginning of the sequence. The beginning of the sequence. If the dog is already worked up, whatever you do is going to create a big audible because the dog is already worked up and it's in drive. At the beginning of the sequence, apply your punisher. Don't wait. So increase of breathing, ears up, chest out, eyes more focused. Boom. That's when you put your punisher in. What's a punisher? Prong collar correction, remote collar correction. Next.
Hi, Jeff. My outdoor husky and I just moved into a new home. Neighbors' homes are really close to us. And there's nothing else.
Okay, next.
Oh, wait. He has been living with other dogs outside at my dad's, does fine in his normal kennel, and doesn't cry. But now, since just he and I moved and I bought him a bigger outdoor kennel, he's been crying nonstop.
So, it's anytime moving, dogs take sometimes usually to acclimate a little bit. Crying, what you can do is you can use a remote collar to stop all that. Make sure you're meeting your dog's needs, mentally and physically, but even then a dog could still cry. So a remote collar is going to stop all that stuff. Next.
Do we correct a 10-week-old puppy screaming and crying in crate with bonker?
Yeah, on the outside of the crate, yes, you do, or else build a habit. If the dog has gone out to the bathroom, it doesn't have to go to the bathroom, okay? Chances are we call that nonsense. Yes, you can correct it. 10-week-old puppy. Oh my gosh, no, you can't. You'll ruin the relationship. You won't own that dog by 6 months old if you don't correct it. Next.
So how do I prevent my dog from biting at the leash and not wanting to walk? Try it every day?
Nope. You have to apply a punisher. The question is, how do you stop an unwanted behavior? The only way to stop an unwanted behavior is through punishment. So a lot of people will say you don't need to punish a dog. Yeah, you do, because punishment is not a bad thing. Punishment is information. It says what you just did is wrong. Do not repeat it. Punishment is actually more important than reward in a lot of instances in dog training. But a lot of people are afraid to say the word. They don't admit they're doing it, or they don't know how to do it, or they are doing it, but they don't know they're doing it. So I would use a pet convincer. Pet convincer, I don't have one with me. It's compressed air. Dog bites the leash. Say no. Use the pet convincer. What the heck was that? That's what's going to happen. Next.
Sometimes my e-collar is red, but remote is green.
E-collar, but the remote is green. One of them needs to be charged. When you push the button, so if nobody's pushing any buttons, one of them is not charged. Next.
I have the mini e-collar. Would that help in replacement of a bar collar?
But yes, but you have to be there. Because it is. So Darius, I call it punishment because that's what it factually is. It's punishment for a reason. I'm trying to change conversation. It's actually punishment. And if all these people out there that are like, we do science-based training. Exactly. But if you don't admit that you do punishment, you don't use science-based training. You're a liar. Not you, Darius. This isn't directed at you. But I'm saying it actually is punishment. Punishment is this. It is the adding or the withholding of something that decreases behavior. That is the factual definition. Just go to Wikipedia. Not that everything on Wikipedia is true, but it's adding or subtracting something that decreases a certain behavior. It's called punishment. Fact. That's what it is. It's all the people out there that turned it into like abuse because they have an ideology. There's this ideology that they're so Bucky Go Wild. I talk about punishment 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I've already talked about bonker. I talked about a remote collar correction. I talked about a pet convincer, and I've talked about a prong collar. I've already talked. All I've been doing is giving examples of punishment continuously, the whole show. It's okay. Pay attention though. I'm not yelling at you, Bucky. Go wild. I'm happy that you're here. Next.
Brought fearful dog to groomer for the first time. Couldn't use clippers on dog's face. Advice?
That's a groomer question. Your groomer should be experienced working with challenging dogs. I have no idea. I would counter condition that with a clicker and food and a pair of scissors. Probably would take about a week to 2 weeks. Counter condition that. But the groomer, though, if it's a good groomer, there's no way your dog can be the first time it's been challenging. So next.
Have you ever seen a dog roll over and submit after being hit by a bonker for the first time?
Sometimes, yeah, but I don't do alpha rolls, and I don't care if a dog rolls over or not. I mean, some dogs roll over when they say hi to a dog. They walk up to a dog, they roll over. Some dogs, sometimes when you go to pet a dog, it rolls over. So I don't look at it as much as submission as just like whatever. Next.
What to do if dog doesn't react fast enough to commands such as sit?
Well, then, if you want to speed up commands, you can do a couple of things. You can use a reward-based system to speed up commands, which eventually you want to get off of. The problem with the reward-based system for that is eventually what happens is the dog will only do it for food. So once a dog understands a command, you've done it hundreds of times. So you've done sit hundreds of times, but it's a little bit slow. How do you increase it? You can apply a punisher for the lack of command in a timely way, and you'd be surprised how quickly they do it. Next.
180 move. What's that?
The 180 move. It's a leash. It goes back to the Keeler method of dog training, KMODT. I do a little bit of a modified version of that. You can just go to my YouTube channel, in my search box, type in 180 move. I explain it step by step. Next.
4-month-old Malinois, his owners are allowing too much freedom, and he's now resource guarding toys.
Okay, so if they own a Malinois, you better get the shit straight tonight. Anybody out there that owns a Malinois, you should know what you're doing. So what I mean? So Bucky Go Wild, you're not listening. Of course I reward dogs for the show. Listen to my whole show. Watch my body of work. All right? Okay. So be patient. So I'm going out of order here. Everybody's asking me how to stop unwanted behavior. The only way to do that is through punishments. So listen to the show. I've got 5,000 how-to videos. Anyway, what's the question? Resource guarding toys. Resource guarding, okay? Resource guarding toys. Start now with the out command, but they better get their shit together with a Malinois. Next.
Bark collar. I bought one on Amazon, and it sucks. Yeah. My dog barks at anyone passing by my home.
So what I would do is get a better bark collar. The Garmin bark limiter is pretty good. Next.
Thanks, Jeff and Linda.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Hi, we love your training style and our dog business. Just leased to own 17 acres
nice.
In, I don't know what that is, Bayonne, California.
Congratulations, fist bump for you, 17 acres. Congratulations on your success. I'm excited for you. I'm happy for you. You're killing it. Kudos to you. Next.
Well, there goes my answer to my Patreon question. Well, about T3. Hey guys.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'll answer it tomorrow. I record my Patreon answers, and I put up my podcast. My Patreon podcast will go up either tomorrow or Friday. Next.
Oh, the people with 17 acres say advice.
Oh yeah, I do business consulting, guys. I mean, that's my paid gig. So that's my paid gig. Join Patreon. Go to patreon.com, Solid Canine Training. Do a monthly Skype with me. 15 minutes or half an hour. Change your life. Change your business. Next.
Thank you both, Linda and Jeff.
You're welcome.
My Chihuahua has trained me how to pick her up. She turns her body a certain way.
Oh, cool. Awesome. That's fun. Next.
My dog is so stubborn. If he doesn't want to walk a certain way, he will sit and try to pull out his collar.
Okay, that's bullshit, and you know it. Total bullshit. And that dog is being a manipulative little SOB. So, that dog is doing it on purpose, and you know damn well that dog's doing it on purpose. And that dog knows it's doing it on purpose. So it's time for you to say, you know what? Game over. Let's get going. So what you can do is you can use a pound collar, remote collar, give that dog a little bit of motivation, and finish with a walk. Next.
If I have two dogs, when training them, should I do it separate?
Yes, one at a time and put them together.
How should dog appear toward cats, etc., so not a threat to them?
We already asked that. Answer that question. Next. I did the boob thing.
When dogs potty, do you reward them with a treat?
You can, if you want. When you want to train a dog to be housebroken. When you want to train a dog to be housebroken, you can put a slip lead on the dog, go out the door. Got it? Go up door, same door, go to the same potty spot. It goes to the bathroom, click, treat. Absolutely, you can do that. Next. And give it a name. Next.
Dogs sleep in shed that connects to an outside fence area. In the morning, I walk in, but when I leave for a couple of minutes, he pees inside. How do I fix this if I don't see it happen?
You can. You can. You got to know your dog. Don't let your dog out of your eyesight right now, or set your dog up with like a camera. A two-way camera, a baby cam, remote collar, you punish for that, but you don't do it after the fact. You know, that's to me, that's like, where were you? You know. Next.
How do I get my 6-month-old GSD to focus when we are outside?
What's that?
How do I get my 6-month-old GSD to focus when we're outside?
Outside, there's higher level of distractions, so you got higher levels of distractions outside. Okay. And you're going to need to up something. So if you're using a reward, you got to up the reward. If you're using punishment, you might have to, or you're not, you might have to apply it. Next.
Correcting high 60 with my reactive GSD amps them up even worse. Do you think my correction is late?
It's probably late, or it might even be too low. It's just a number. Next.
Young husky screaming during prong collar dance. Work through it or change.
Work through it. It's just being a drama queen. Trust me. It's a husky. A lot of times, a lot of dogs will be very, very, very dramatic. We've seen that on martingales, flat buckle collars, harnesses, head halters, everything. So we've seen it on everything. Next.
We are going to do training and off-leash walking at the 17 acres.
Awesome. Cool.
Love that there's less nonsense around here. Thanks for the training.
You're welcome.
People mistake punishment and abuse. Punishment is not abuse.
That's because they don't know how to punish. That's why there's a proper way to punish humans and dogs. Ironically, the people that are against punishment, guess what? They punish humans by sending them hate mail and being mean to them. They punish humans. Ironic, isn't it? Next.
My dog snapped at me when we first got her. She was punished and has not done it since.
Yep. What do you know? As soon as you see a bad behavior, you punish it. And the chances of it reoccurring are so small when you let it keep happening over and over and over again, thinking that they'll outgrow it, it'll go away, oh, it's no big deal. You're training the dog to continue the unwanted behavior. Just remember, the lack of no is yes. Always remember that. Next.
My 1-year-old GS is great with training some days, and then it seems like she goes backwards 5 steps.
Yep, exactly. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It could be the age. It could be the age. It could be just like maybe your training style. Next.
How am I now just finding you guys? This is awesome stuff.
I don't know, because I've been doing this I had a radio show. We've got millions of fans, but it doesn't make a difference. I'm happy that you found me. Thank you so much. We find people find us every single day, and I'm honored and blessed and humbled that people do. Next.
How to correct a reactive dog when they are screaming because of prong e-collar?
So they're probably not screaming because of the prong or the e-collar. If they are, you are applying the punisher probably too late. They're most likely screaming because it's an objection. It's an objection. So, dogs do this all the time. There's some of the biggest leash reactive dogs I see. You're out taking for a walk, and you get a dog screaming its head off, and it's a harness. So it's not the tool; it's the dog. The dog is just a reactive dog. How do you stop that? Is you apply your punisher at the beginning of the sequence of bad behavior. When you're going through rehab, if someone's going through rehab, you don't wait until they've had 2 or 3 drinks to tell them, you know what, you shouldn't be. You're trying to stay sober. I'm being serious here. We rehab dogs. You're trying to stay sober. You shouldn't have any more drinks. No. Before they even think of having that one drink, like when they walk into the bar, when they head to the bar, they call up their dealer for more heroin. I'm being serious here. That's when you apply the punisher. got to stop that behavior at the beginning of the sequence.
Are your videos on YouTube?
Yes, they are. Everything is connected to my website, solidk9training.com.
Been trying the e-collar on Husky, but been having trouble finding reaction. Do I keep increasing number?
No, I want you to get the thick fur, long contact points. You might have to shave a little bit of fur down.
And also, how high is too high?
That the dog will let you know. The dog will let you know. Next.
Any recommendations to get labs more comfortable with swimming in pools and beaches?
I've got 3 videos on my YouTube channel. In fact, my last seminar, I just did a how to swim module. I'm going to be putting up the photos probably by tomorrow. I'm almost done with the photo album. I've got about 300 photos that I think I'm going to be able to put up. 3,500 of them taken. So I've got an above ground pool, in-ground pool, and I've got a beach, ocean, lake video on my YouTube channel. In my YouTube channel, how to swim. Type it in. Next.
Walking my dog the other day off leash, GSD started following with no owner in sight. Kind of scary.
Yep, it can be. Just always be ready. I did a tip of the day yesterday about that. What would Jeff do? Dog tip of the day. Tip number 109. Next.
Do you have issues with prong collars popping off? I have this issue. Am I doing something wrong?
So I never personally have. Yes, it could happen. It could be manufacturer defect, but it's usually handler error. So what I would do also, if it's a crappy collar, that can happen more. Sometimes on the 2.25 millimeters, that can happen. Just make sure it's a Herm Sprenger collar and none of the prongs are bent incorrectly. Next.
A canine officer in New York. What's up?
Hey, what's up? I was just actually in Canton, Ohio with Rick Stambro with the Canton, Ohio Canine Department. I actually go out there every single year and spend a day with them. And police officers, canine officers from all over the state there every Wednesday, and they train. And great respect out there. That's where Jethro. I'm sure in your world you know who Canine Jethro is. It's been about 2 years, I think, since he was killed in the line of duty. And that's where he was based out of. And great working dogs. I'll be putting up a photo album of my day there of a bunch of working dogs doing odor detection and light work. Next.
Patreon is the best.
Awesome. Thanks.
All research I've seen. Okay, YouTube trainers say dogs will only need to be on. I don't understand. Let me see. A level 10 on a remote collar?
Well, depends on the remote collar. If it's a sport dog, maybe that's the highest level. I think it's an 8. But in e-collar technology, if any dog trainer out there, and this is not directed towards any dog trainer because I don't know who's saying this. But for a dog trainer to say that a remote collar never has to go over level 10 on a dog truck, which goes to 127, and a e-collar technology goes to 100, is full of shit. Like, this is not directed towards any human being because I don't know who's saying this and I don't want to know who's saying this at all. But that's like the most unethical statement in the world. Over 10? You gotta be kidding me. Like, no. Dogs blow through 100 in drive. They don't even feel it at 100 sometimes when they're in drive. 10 is a freaking joke for those dogs. Now, some dogs respond to like a 2 or 3, and those same dogs, when they're in drive, they might not respond to a 30 or 40 or 50. So anybody that says that you don't have to go over a 10 is either lying to you, full of shit, or sure as hell ain't using the e-collar. So, sorry about that, but boy, it's important that the right information gets out there. Next.
Jeff, what do you use Let's Go for healing versus heal? Any insight?
No, I say heal. I say let's go with it. Look, I'll say let's go. I'll say let's go. Sometimes like coming off of place, or I'll just say let's go when I'm like starting my dogs like to move from point A to point B. To me, I say let's go in a more casual way. But if I want a dog to stay right next to me, I would give them the heel command. That's just personal choice. Just words anyway. Next. Once a dog is trained, it knows what you mean, actually, most of the time. Next.
Good evening, Linda and Jeff. Glad to see you both back together again. Hey, Kim. How are you?
Hey, we were never separated. I was traveling. Just if you're brand new to the show, there was no like.
But let me also add, Kim has been our friend on here for a long time.
Right.
And she's such a nice lady, and she always has the best things to say to us.
Good. Just but for everybody else.
We're fine. We're making
Shit. Maybe we're not fine because we have to defend our togetherness. Shit.
I'm a little depressed now.
I know.
All right. I'm 26 and my best friend who runs the business with me is 27. We will definitely Skype. Thank you.
Awesome.
Young whippersnappers.
That's right.
Good for you. What if my dog stares at my boobs?
You better get out a bunch of ones. You better get out a bunch of ones and fives and be throwing them at your dog. Your dog better be throwing at you, right?
Oh my God.
Yep. Nice.
I don't know what this went to. That was rude. LOL.
Oh, I banned that one person because she asked me a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I'm not, sorry that you felt it was rude. I've been known to be rude many times, but I only have so much tolerance for young
No,
kids.
I don't think you were rude. I think the other person was rude.
No. The person saying that I was rude for banning the person. I saw when that happened. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Let's pass that up, please. People want to know your answers. That's fine. I'm a good guy. Next.
Interested in starting my dog on raw diet. Can you recommend any good resources like books, etc.?
There are so many Facebook pages out there about raw that, and there's got to be tons of books out there about raw that I would look into that. I would look into that. I'm not the guy to ask. I feed raw, but I'm not the guy to ask. You can look at Volhard Nutrition. Go to Volhard, VOLHARD nutrition.com. If you decide to buy it, just put in Ann Green as your rep. Ann Green as your rep. Next.
Thank you for the answer on Focus. Love y'all.
Love you too.
Any recommendations for training carryover when dog is being boarded?
That's up to the boarding place. That's up to the boarding place. Now, chances are it's not going to follow through unless your dog they trained your dog in the first place. That's the great thing about our boarding play is we keep up with the training. Next.
Keep up the great work. Love these Q&As.
Oh, thanks.
My GSD also growls at my dad. I think it's because he fucks with him when I'm not home. Tips?
Maybe. I don't know. You got to have a sit down with your dad and talk about it. I mean, definitely want to use punishment to stop growling. A lot of people say, oh, you don't do that. That's a warning. Yeah, but if your dad is just walking by and the dog growls, I mean, dog's uncomfortable, but why? So, I mean, to me, 99% of the time, growling is not acceptable. Next.
Why is Malinois so much different from Shepherd? Almost did this last dog, feeling glad I didn't.
What I would do is the differences between a Volkswagen and a really fast car, Ferrari. Yeah, males are intense. Most males are intense, high drive dogs. They're intense. You need to work the heck out of them usually. Next. Most pets, Mal doesn't make a good pet dog most of the time, put it that way.
Someone says Mal, the Olympic athletes of dogs.
There you go.
Have you ever told a client that their dog is too much for them?
There's absolutely some dogs that are probably in the wrong family. Absolutely, yeah. Next.
You are great.
I'm just telling it like it is, but thank you so much. I'm sort of like average. Next.
Nice. When do you use momentary versus continuous?
Depends on how I'm trained. During the training stage, I'm doing continuous on, continuous off, and then momentary is usually I'll do am at a higher level at the punishment stage. Next.
I'm sure she is objecting to a collar, and that is great advice. Thank you. I'll correct her earlier.
Yeah, try it out. Try it out. You're not going to mess up your dog, so just experiment. Next.
I have soft muzzle for adult pit mix. How far should he be able to open his mouth to pan?
I would get off of the soft muzzle, unless you're a vet, and it's only going to be on for like 30 seconds to a minute. I would switch to a Baskerville muzzle. It's a muzzle that's a harder plastic, which actually you could put in warm water to stretch out. The dog can pant, bark, drink water, accept food. Next.
Prong question. He would sit and stop like lead sometimes when I try to guide him. What should I do?
The dog is just objecting. Just use slow leash pressure a couple times. If that doesn't work, give a good pop. Not gonna hurt the dog. Yeah. Prong collars were designed not to harm dogs. You can harm a dog. Most tracheal damage comes from martingales, slip leads, flat buckle collars. Most tracheal damage. You really can't harm a dog with prong. It's extremely, extremely difficult. They're just the way it was designed. Next.
Your swimming videos are legit.
Thanks. They're good.
Too legit to quit.
Next.
I'll be buying the e-collar soon. Husband is on board after seeing my product.
Awesome. Proud of you. Proud of you guys working as a team. Next. Definitely need everybody on board in the family.
Any tips on controlling play between dogs? My 2-year overcorrects my 9-month-old and has punctured him before.
Tips on controlling play. So once it goes into drive, the dogs do stupid stuff. So when the dogs get that aroused, you're gonna have to cut it out because it could turn into a nasty fight.
Are you going to continue your pack walks in Providence this spring and summer?
It's up to the staff. It's up to Shayla and Peter. Next.
Did you do the finding working level around multiple dogs?
I did. I gotta find it and see if I gotta find it. But listen though, who asked that? Cheryl?
No, Jay-Wan.
I did, but you don't need to see it. But I'll put it up. I want you to do it though. I want you to do it on your own. But of course, put it up. I want people to realize that it's, you know what, you mess up a dog with a clicker very easily. Most people's timing is really terrible. They mark the wrong stuff. So don't worry about messing up your dog with a remote. You'll be okay. We're finding the working level, you'll be fine. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I told them to start filming. Somebody on my Q&A actually specifically asked for that. So I did. I just got to find the video. Next.
Can't wait for all the photos.
Awesome. Oh, Jamal, how are you, buddy? Love you.
My first.
Get your ass to T3, buddy. Come on.
My first Periscope with you. You are so inspiring. Thanks for all you do.
Oh, you're welcome. A couple people. It's funny how who just said.
Alpacas.
It's funny how Autumn says that, and then a couple people are like, "You're an asshole." Guess what? I don't care. Just for anybody out there that's doing videos or social media, if somebody doesn't like you or like your stuff, this is your response. Okay, well, I'm not making it for you. I only make my content for people that like it. That's it. If you don't like,
you've never heard someone call it saying you're an asshole.
Right. Like if you don't like me, that's cool. I'm here for you. I'm here for the people that I help. So don't hurt my feelings at all. Trust me. Like don't worry about me. I'm a grown man. Next. Next.
LOL. My 10-pound dog blows through 30 on a squirrel. That's Heather.
Exactly. Next.
My Jack Russell Terrier doesn't respond to her working level of 6 when she's hunted.
That's because your dog is in drive. That's because your dog was in drive. Don't worry about the number. When your dog's in drive, 60, it might be at 60. I worked at Jack Russell. Its working level was on 4. When it was interested in something, it was on 44. That wasn't a punishment level. That was the new working level. Working levels go up and down. Don't be focused on the number. Just pay attention to the dog. Next.
My dog is becoming more comfortable around environmentals on the walk after implementing your and Sean's techniques.
Bam. Awesome. Thank you. Good job.
On leash, when approaching another dog, the dog lays down. Should I correct or put in sit?
Neither. Keep walking by. Teach your dog to walk by other dogs because I don't want your dogs meeting on a walk because nonsense can happen. Fights can happen. Bad behavior can happen. You never know. Keep walking. You're working. So we're working right now. Let's go. At my side, at my pace, we're moving. Next.
Cheryl says, y'all crack me up.
Oh, cool.
Thank you. And y'all are too funny. That's from Colleen. Healing and dog alerts on something, pop leash, and then repeat heal command, or say no, then pop leash.
Either one, whatever works best for you. Next.
I rescued a Chihuahua mix and she runs away. Help.
Okay, so how do you teach a dog not to run away is a couple of things. You teach the dog to come back on command, number one. So that dog, if you've got a dog that runs away, you can't have it off the leash. So it should always be on a leash. If you want to give it a little bit of freedom, get yourself a 30-foot leash. Do not get an extended leash, please. Get yourself a 30-foot leash so it can be out. Teach the dog how to recall. So we've got videos on recall command, which is the come command, and that's a food-based command. Eventually you can switch over to a remote power, and then teach the dog to heel next to you. So the dog is always walking at your pace. Become everything to that dog. Become everything to the dog. So at the beginning, we do all food-based protocols, and then we start lots of structure in there, but don't let the dog off leash, or you'll have a lost dog. Okay? Next.
You guys are out of your mind. I know you're not separated. Thanks, Tim.
Next.
You guys are great. Thank you for your broadcast.
Oh, you're welcome.
Forget about dogs. How do I train my wife?
You know what? It's so funny because your wife came on the show earlier and said, forget about dogs. How do I train my husband? So that's going to be a three-way Skype. And premium dollars on that one.
Hello. If Jeff could train wives, I wouldn't be so out of control.
Yes. You're asking the wrong guy.
Who's running shit up in this house?
Bam.
Next. Jeff, will you be doing any tours to Central California? I know Fresno is small, but we'll definitely
I'd be open to it. Find me a location, and if I think I can get 35 to 40 people there, I'm there. Next.
Rescued a dog 2 months ago.
I'm going to be in Seattle. I know that's not Central California.
No.
I will be in Ramona, California, which is drivable to you, and I'll be in Seattle, a little bit farther away, and I'll also be in Las Vegas. Next, go to rvdogtrainer.com.
Dog new to prong collar. He is rejecting and biting. We did this already.
Yep, that's
Dog
common.
in office gets vocal with a particular colleague who is afraid of dogs. How to stop the barking?
Roll collar, bark collar, bonker. Take your pick. Next.
What breed was your best dog?
I have a personal preference to German Shepherds. Next.
You liked Papillons?
No, I'm not coming to Chicago, but I will be in Elkhart, Indiana. We just announced the seminar yesterday. It's on rvdogtrainer.com. We are an hour and a half away from Chicago. Next.
Have you seen any negative effects on neutering?
No puppies. I am pro-choice, and I am not seeing neutering stop any unwanted behavior other than no puppies. Even then, it's not guaranteed. So we're not seeing neutering decrease any behaviors at all. Every aggressive dog, every anxiety dog, every dog that's badly behaved, every overly aroused dog has been desexed. But my next male I probably will leave intact. Next, because I want to do the surgery that I don't think it's an elective surgery. But I also believe that every dog in a shelter should be neutered before it leaves. That's sort of my stance. Next.
Would you recommend using dressage whip to break up escalated play between two dogs from same household?
Absolutely. Next.
What's the difference between a remote and a clicker?
Oh, tons. Humongous difference. A clicker is used to mark. The only thing clickers are for, I don't see the only thing. Clickers are a marker. That's what a clicker is. It's a marker. It's after the dog does something you want, you mark it. And click is an effective marker because it's a consistent sound and your timing is going to be better than a word. And a remote collar, it can be used to punish a dog, but also it can be used to train a behavior. But you don't use a remote collar or a shock collar to mark the behavior. So two totally different things. Two totally different things. Next.
Hey guys.
Oh.
Cockapoos are so lovely.
Yeah, they are. It's a lovely breed. Next.
Have you had more success with compatibility between two females or two males in the same household?
Males. So one male, one female, another male, female should be your last choice. But guess what? I own 4 female dogs. Go figure. But 3 female dogs. The worst dog fights that including Fabia, I guess. The worst dog fights that I've seen have been female. Next.
What do you recommend for very hairy dogs that do not feel e-collar with long contact?
Get thick fur contact points and shave down a little bit of the area. Make sure you got really snug fit like this.
Okay. I was told I was cruel for having my dog on place for 4 hours at my mom's Passover. Wow.
Sitting through Passover dinner could be cruel, in my opinion. And depending on the noodle kugel recipe, is that a Passover dish?
How the hell would I know?
You don't celebrate Pesach? No.
What? What's that?
That could be cruel.
You know what? Angela said something about Purim today.
Did he really?
Do you know there's a holiday called Purim? And I go, where'd you learn about that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Listening.
Hey, Vance. Bonjour.
I think I peed a little.
Nice. Right. Do Kegels.
Thanks. So I would just use a higher level if I wanted to call her off something when she's hunting.
Yes, correct. Absolutely. Yeah. Pay attention to the dog. Don't worry about the freaking number. Next.
Looking forward to Long Island.
Taliban, you're gonna lose me. It's I don't know. I don't know. You know, I've got like.
I had high school French.
Yeah, but that doesn't go. When you talk a foreign language on the show, I actually have to ban you because for all I know, you're calling me an asshole. And other people do it in English. I assume people are doing it in a foreign language. Next.
Looking forward to Long Island seminar. Very nervous how my GSD will react to a new environment.
Well, that's the plate. So, just for clarification for my seminars, your dog is supposed to be out of control. You know, the dog is supposed to be out of control. That's why I want your dog there. Next.
Dog vocalizes when corrected for non-compliance. Too high. Don't want to nag and correct too low.
You know what? It could be just an objection. Some dogs are just vocal. Next.
Why not an extendable leash?
Oh, because those are dangerous. Like extendable leash is this that happens with extendable leash is you can't get it back quick enough, and now your dog is extended too far. Dogs can wrap around things, especially other dogs and human legs. And sometimes if a dog runs quick, the leash can break free of the handset. Next.
My German Shepherd is 2 now, but still jumps like crazy when she's excited.
Most dogs jump until they're punished not to jump. So I've got a bunch of how to stop jumping videos. I think it's my number 2 video is how to stop jumping. It's how to stop jumping. So go onto my YouTube channel. It's easier to stop a dog from jumping. So resource guarding, stop resource guarding, and jumping is easier than teaching sit. Takes 3 seconds. YouTube. Next.
I love German Shepherds as well as a beautiful, beautiful dog. That's
awesome.
Right. Will bar color work for all dogs? Small Yorkie?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Next.
Wait, why leave your dog intact?
It's because it's personal choice. I believe in personal choice. So I'm a huge advocate of it, and I don't believe in doing an unnecessary surgery where I have to put my dog under and it could possibly die on the table. That's all. And the dogs that I get, the German Shepherds I get from the Czech Republic, hold on 1 second. I may decide to breed. There's a shortage of good German Shepherds in the United States. We have too many German Shepherds, but not too many good ones. The German Shepherds we see is probably one of the more breeds that are not psychologically put together properly, as well as physically. They're shot to shit in this country. So we see a lot of really, unfortunately, German Shepherds that are struggling both mentally and physically, and that's usually due to poor breeding. Now that doesn't mean I'm going to breed my dog, but it gives me the option. And I'm also a very responsible dog owner. So that's my choice. And I respect people's choices of neutering and spaying their dogs. And I will neuter and spay. I've neutered and spayed many of my dogs. Next.
My female dog, Chihuahua, barks at any and everything. How can I stop her from barking?
A bonker. What you do, say no, take a bonk, it's a cotton towel, whiz it at the dog. You won't hurt your dog, but your dog stop barking. Next.
Thank you so much. I love your Q&A.
Oh, thank you for listening.
Do you use insecticides on your lawn? Advantix drops? How do you keep your pups tick and flea free?
So we don't use insecticides on our lawn, which wouldn't make a difference anyway because we're off property so much. I have used Advantix on my dogs, but I'm going to be switching over to a homeopathic flea and tick, and I don't have the recipe on me, but we have it at work, and you can probably just Google it. Next.
What kind of dog should I get if I'm disabled?
Well, it depends on your disability. If you've got mobility issues, and if you need stability, if you're wheelchair bound, you want a dog. Possibly, you might want just a dog that can be up in your lap that you can go take with you. If you need a dog that helps with, there's so many variables. But I would look for a dog that's on the calmer side and an older dog. Probably not a puppy, but also depends on what your disability is. Next.
My GSD has stranger anxiety. How can I remedy this?
So get your dog around lots of people, but not interacting with lots of people. The best thing you can do with your dog is get your dog to start existing in different situations. Next.
Does neutering help calm down the dog?
No, it does not.
Is that the answer?
Yep. No, it doesn't. I've never seen it happen. Next.
My sister, who has early Alzheimer's, adopted a beagle as a therapy puppy. Is that a choice?
All depends on the temperament of the dog. Puppy, possibly not. Dog, a chill beagle, possibly. I mean, again, I don't know. But there's so many variables. There's the skill set of your sister, skill set of your sister, and then the temperament of the dog. So it's not going to be a breed specific thing. I mean, probably doesn't want to get a Malinois. So next.
I love bonker idea.
Bonkers are great. Next.
Took my GSD out the other day, and a lady came up to her. Dog jumped on her after.
Your dog jumped on her, so that's, it's 100% responsibility. It's your problem. So the way you fix it is with my video, How to Stop Jumping. Someone asked what it is. It's GSD, German Shepherd Dog. Next.
What's your YouTube channel?
The name of my company. Everything is Solid Canine Training. Everything I do. Next.
Is your dog more susceptible to health issues if you don't neuter, like cancer?
I don't know. That's a medical question. I actually don't know the answer on that. I imagine you're going to get a lot of different opinions on that one.
You
Next.
Do, definitely.
Well, probably two. Some are going to say yes, some are going to say no. Next.
Dogs need their sex hormones to develop. Rescues, fixing the dogs at 3 to 6 months old. So crazy.
I know, but I get why they're doing it. I get why they're doing it. I mean, I don't agree. I don't agree with some puppies are neutered and spayed at 8 weeks old. So I know. Next.
Thanks for the advice.
You're welcome.
If I'm blind, what kind of dog?
So if you're blind, again, if you need it as a service dog, you're going to want to get one. I mean, that's the service dog of the blinder. That's an intensive process. But that's going to be based on personal choice as far as your activity level. So what's your activity level? I would get a dog that probably I would look for a trained dog, because dogs pull people over as it is, sighted folks. If you're blind, the last thing you need to do is to have a dog that's like you don't know where they're going. It all depends on your lifestyle and what you're looking for. What I would say is you're going to probably want to find a dog that's calmer, obedient, absolutely not leash reactive to humans or dogs, because you need to be able to see what's going on. You can feel it now through the leash. But if a dog is staring at somebody, you might not be able to pick that up. Even sighted folks miss a lot of the cues. So what I would do is I would look for possibly the temperament of a dog and talk to some local people and maybe try fostering different types of dogs. Next.
If I use remote collar for recall, can I use bark collar as well, or will that confuse the dog?
You could. I mean, the bark collar only goes off for barking. So what I would do is you can use, if you're around, you can use your remote collar as a bark collar. But a bark collar is great for when there's no humans there. That's the great thing about them. Next.
Hi, Gelmans. Love you all.
Hey.
It's Lula Love Heather.
Oh, hey, Heather. Love you.
Try to bonker, but my 1-year-old dog thinks I'm playing, and it gets her excited.
So you're using it wrong. So you're using it wrong. It should be a very firm downward pop. Downward pop.
Someone just called you a kitty patootie.
Oh, cool. I think they're talking about you.
Oh, me? Oh, yeah. I thought they were talking about you. My GSD barks to go outside, but then runs away when I try to get the leash on.
So your dog. So what it is your dog is trained to run away from you. So you need to flip that. So keep a leash on your dog. Put it like a little slip on your dog with a long line. Train your dog recall and train it to put a collar on. It doesn't make a difference if it's a prong collar or whatever collar it is. Your dog thinks it's a game. It thinks it's a game. So and it is a game. Your dog. So why people say, why does my dog do that? Because it's having fun. It's having fun. It's called the keep away game. So you want to flip that by keeping a leash on the dog, training it to come to you, have it sit, and then put the collar on it. Next.
Thoughts on how long the beagle should take to potty train?
It's not a beagle question. That's a dog question. It all depends on the age of the dog and also the consistency of the owner. The consistency of the owner and structure. You want to have a lot of structure. But hey, knock it off. Next.
This is from Kim. Thanks. I did not even know that was a false statement.
Yep.
About the neutering.
God, yeah. Hey.
Here.
Right. Next.
Oh, Heather, but I do have a question. My dog lunges and is aggressive towards skateboards and motorcycles. So
what you want to do is, it would be a punishment. So at the beginning of the sequence, teach your dog how to properly heel next to you. Go out there and hold on one second. Go out there with skateboards. At the beginning of the sequence, apply a punisher. Apply a punisher. Next.
If my brother's golden retriever went after our very small dog, which lost her eye, who pays the vet? If my brother's golden retriever went after our very small dog, which lost her eye,
your brother, I would imagine your brother would. It all depends on. I mean, there need more to the story. That's just one side of the story. For all I know, your little dog, was annoying it. But what I would do is, if a dog harms another dog unwarranted, the aggressor is going to have to pay. But sometimes little dogs can be the trigger. But I would need way more information than that. I'm not going to get into I would need to know way more information than that. Giving something to you. Next.
My Chihuahua has issues with loud noises. How to help her? She runs away from it.
So you want to start desensitizing your dog? Again, what you do is you can punish the act of running away. People get freaked out about this. But the dog is already freaked out. It's like, I know it is, but it can get hit by a car. It can run away and get hit by a car. Dogs jump out windows, car windows, house windows. What I would do, though, is keep the dog in place or down.
We're at 102.
We're almost done. And then get the dog to stay there around loud noises. All right, guys, it's over an hour now. Eat dick, give me $50, and I will. I'll even look at first. Okay, great. All right, guys. A little bit of nonsense there at the end. Jeff Gellman, Solid Canine Training. We only do an hour show. Join the Patreon page. Go to patreon.com/Solid Canine Training. I'll be more than happy to, I answer questions on that. You can do Skypes on that. I do an hour. It's all free content. It's all free content. So I'll keep that into.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, but thank you so much. YouTube, thank you. Periscope, Spotify, SoundCloud. Who else? Google, Alexa. Ask Alexa to play What Would Jeff Do? She will.
Will she?
Yeah, she will. Yeah.
Okay. Just don't ask Alexis.
Don't ask Alexis. All right, guys. And Siri knows me too. All right. Take care.